Today's devotional is not a movie review, but a testimony to the ability of God to deliver superhuman strength to his faithful followers, even as they face death. Welcome to Mornings with Bishop Robert. Thanks for joining me. I do this for you. My goal is to introduce people to the Jesus they never knew, then help them get to know him and his word personally and better. So if our time together today speaks to your heart, let me invite you to like, subscribe, and also share this video with a friend. I have stood upon the hill where Stephen, the first martyr in Christianity, was stoned to death. His voice was heard clearly by those who took his life. The two final phrases of this man of God were preserved for our consideration. Luke reports that while they were stoning him, Stephen prayed, "Lord Jesus, receive my spirit." He had already seen the heavens opened, the glorious throne of God, and Jesus standing at the right hand of God. Now I find it significant that the Lord had chosen to stand at this moment, as if in a final ovation to this act of faith. Well, as the stones being hurled upon him did their inevitable work, Stephen's flesh and his physical heart began to fail him. But before they did, he fell on his knees and he cried out, "Lord, do not hold this sin against them." Those were the last words Stephen ever spoke. And even as he was being murdered by a frenzied mob, he prayed for their forgiveness. This then is a prime example of God being the strength of Stephen's heart and his portion forever. But Stephen's story is not unique, not by any means. Luke tells us that on that day, a great persecution broke out against the church in Jerusalem. Fox's Book of Martyrs reports that about 2,000 Christians, with Nicanor, one of the 7 original deacons, suffered martyrdom during the persecution that arose about Stephen. Sometime later in 44 AD, James the Apostle, he was the son of Zebedee and the elder brother of the Apostle John. James was falsely accused under a plan devised by King Herod. Now, this was Herod Agrippa, the son of the man who was the king at the time of Jesus' birth. Kind of Herod Jr. Well, the writings of Clemens, a Christian theologian and a philosopher who taught at the Catechetical School of Alexandria, those writings preserve a first-hand report from the day James's life was taken. Clemens tells us that as James was led to the place of martyrdom, his accuser repented publicly of his false accusations. Pushing through the crowd, the man fell on his knees before James and begged him for forgiveness. After James forgave his accuser, the man professed that he too had become a Christian. So at Herod's order, they were both beheaded with swords at the same time. Flesh failing, but hearts brave and strong. Because for those who love him, God is the strength of their heart and their portion forever. I could quite literally go on and on and on and on. Whether it's Fox's Book of Martyrs, the classic tome on martyrdom, or the contemporary volume entitled Jesus Freaks, Stories of Those Who Stood for Jesus. There are hundreds of compilations of tales of Christian martyrdom. Some, like Hearts of Fire, 8 women in the underground church and their stories of costly faith, focus on a single nation. Others, such as Bonhoeffer, pastor, martyr, prophet, spy, tell the story of a single person all recount flesh failing, but hearts staying brave and strong. This is a faith worth having. This is a faith worth living and dying for. Today's verse says, "Be strong and courageous." The greatest act of courage this world has ever known is when Jesus Christ, the Son of God, went on his final walk to Jerusalem. The Bible tells us that even though Jesus knew he was going to be crucified, he set his face towards Jerusalem. And he didn't flinch. Because he had decided that even though he had to die to reconcile this world back to God, he was going to go through with it. He went knowing what was ahead. And let me tell you, it's here we find the greatest motivator for courage. It's a little thing called love. What about you? Do you have a faith that's a central focus of your life? Does it impact your decisions? Look, if your faith hasn't changed your life, it's probably time to change your faith. It's time to put your faith in someone worth living for. My prayer is that I may be a strong witness, that I'd exhibit a brave heart when facing assaults against my faith. May I be able to say with a loud voice, "My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever." There's a love that creates a faith like that. And it's a love that you can know, a love that gives you a faith that's unshakable, even in the face of death. It's a love that can only be found in Jesus Christ. Do you know him? I've run out of time this morning, but I do want to ask you to help me introduce people to the Jesus they never knew and help them get to know him and his word personally and better. Please like this video. Help more people see it. And then click follow or subscribe so that you and I can get together every single day. If you click the link in the description, I'll send you a free copy of my book, Count to One. I'll pop it right into your inbox for you. Oh, and one more thing. Would you please share this video with a friend? Because as you do, that makes you part of the team, touching hearts all over the world with the love of Jesus. Hey, thanks for helping.